at the end. So I could say hello, or I could say hello, which is the situation that a lot of us find ourselves in at the moment in our classes. The problem is here that our students really can't tell whether we're happy with them or not. So we can solve that problem with something like this. And then the students do know we're happy. This is an idea from a colleague of mine, Jude McGovern at Ellie. Thanks to her for that. If we're not so happy, then we can have this. And you know, we could have a range of emotions just to you know, try to cross some of the barriers, the visual barriers that are made. We could have a full face mask as well, maybe with eyes cut out. Or again, if we're not quite so happy. And I think Jude's telling me what she does. If she's teaching some people online and some people in the room, if she's happy, or if she wants to show them that she's paying attention, but she's not looking at them, she'll just, you know, show them her face like that, so they realize that she's there with them. Now, thank you, Aphrodite. And let's have a look. Move this. So, here we go. So a lot of us are having to, one second. That's it. Can you guys see the presentation there that says show your mood? Yes, magic. Okay. So a lot of us are having to take the temperature of our students at the moment. This is ideal as well. If we take the temperature, then flip it round, they can practice the 30s, you know, 35.1 degrees, 35.2 degrees, etc. You can't see the presentation? What about now? Okay, I'll share it again. Let's say stop share and share screen. Okay. Just waiting for my chat box to reappear so I can see whether or not you guys can see that or not. Just as I left the screen. Let's try again.
Everything's fine, Chris.
Everything's fine. Magic. Yeah. Great stuff. Hopefully my chat box will reappear. Sometimes on Zoom, if you're sharing a screen, the chat box sort of, it comes and goes, I found. So yeah, we've got an ideal opportunity to take their temperature, spin it round and get them to say, you know, 36.3 degrees, teacher, 36.4 degrees, teacher. So at least we can cover the 30s, hopefully not the 40s. We also might be playing about with gel, and we can have quite a bit of fun with that as well. I've got a cat that wants to join in the talk here. So sometimes we have these industrial, you know, big white industrial bottles of gel. Sometimes we might want to play about with some scented gels. So I like to cover up the bottle and then we can have a prediction round. So we all get a bit of gel and then we have on the board, teacher, I think it smells of, and then everybody makes a prediction. We go right round the class and everybody says what they think it smells of. This one wasn't actually a coconut one. I think it smells of is great. I mean, we can use that in quite a few ways anyway, but and we can have a lot of fun there. What happens most of the time, is you get halfway round and one little kid wants to change because their best friend has just said it smells of avocado. And so, you know, I want to change. Instinctively, we might think, oh God, they want to change, what a problem. But actually, it's not a problem at all. Because if a child wants to change their prediction, that means the enthusiasm is with them, and that means the control is with us as far as language production goes. We say, of course you can change, but you have to say, teacher, I've changed my mind. Can I guess again? Or teacher, I've changed my mind. Can I switch? Which is brilliant. So as long as they actually want to say something, we can harness that enthusiasm and get more language production out of them. So that one was, in fact, coconut. I'm playing about at the moment with some clear ones. I've got a clear aniseed one that I'm going to add to the gel next week. I've got these little bottles as well. This one's Coca-Cola, actually smells like cinnamon. This one's blackberry. And I'm having fun this week. What I'm doing is I'm saying Coca-Cola or blackberry or both. And they're saying, most of them are saying both. So I'm pouring a little bit of each into either hand, and the kids are having fun mixing them together. How old are you is a question we've been asking kids for, you know, since forever, and it's boring. How old am I is much more interesting. So if you can try this on Monday, if you dare, we go around the class, you know, and each child tries to guess how old the teacher is. You can see I had all sorts of guesses here. There was 79, I think, was the oldest, and 7. One little boy thought I was 7, and his classmate said, "No, no, 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 no. That's him. Him. How old do you think he is?" And he nodded. He said, "Yeah, I think he's 7." And they said, "No, but how old do you think the teacher is?" I think he's 7. He stuck to his guns, but I could see at the end of it there was just a little bit of doubt in his eye there. Classroom, in terms of classroom management, I've been using more hand gestures this year than ever. So the classic one that I always used to use was hand on the nose and hand in the air, and everybody copies to transition as a captivation technique. What I've been using this year more and more are kind of routinized transitions, a gesture which prompts some language. So if I do that, they go, "Teacher, what's next?" And if I do this with the other hand, they say, "Teacher, what's number 1? What's number 2? The other one is a teacher, and I'll go, and they go, "Which book?" And then I'll tell them in an activity book or pupils book, and then teacher, what page? So it just seems to, it helps compensate for the lack of expression here, but it also, you know, they're very visual, these prompts. So we'll do them I'll do them in the middle of a class instead of this one, and then we're actually getting some language from the children in our transitions as well. What's next? What's number? Which book? I'm thinking of introducing something like this, you know, teacher, what do we do? I was going to play about with teacher, what are the instructions? But I thought that was a little bit too much of a mouthful. So I've opted for what do we do? And the classic, I mean, you know, when you come into class and your students are, you know, teacher, can we watch a video? Teacher, can we play this game from last time? Teacher, what are we going to? My standard one is this: wait and see, wait and see. And I only have to do that. And then it's wait and see, wait and see. So we're attaching language to gestures in this way. Okay, so we've got, let's imagine we've got unit 1 in the course book, and the vocabulary is fruit. Unit 2, the key vocabulary is places, places around town. Now, I'll start working with the vocabulary from unit 2 long before we get there. So most of the books, they often have the vocabulary on a sort of key or the core vocabulary on the first or second page of the unit, I've found. So let's imagine it's this for unit 2, places around town, and I'll introduce it in the following way. It'll be, you know, guys, today we've got vocabulary war. It is the street versus the supermarket. And we'll go around the class and I'll say, I prefer the street, I prefer the supermarket. And then, teacher, I prefer the supermarket. Bing! 1 point for the supermarket. And then we go right round. We get, you can see the supermarket is clearly more popular than the street here. And at the end, it's, so the supermarket goes through to next week's eliminator and the street goes home. I did it just 2 words in a lesson. In a few lessons, you've covered all the core vocab for the next unit. And again, what will happen often is you get a student, their friend has gone for the supermarket, but they went for the street and they want to swap. Again, the traditional paradigm, for us, our instinctive reaction is, oh God, they want to switch. But no, that's great. They can switch. Again, it's, teacher, I've changed my mind. Can I switch? Yes, you can. And then you say the other one as well. Sometimes you'll get students that they don't want to. They don't want to guess. I don't know, teacher. Now, I don't know is fine. And up till this year, I've been teaching that. But now, instead of I don't know, I'm making the abstaining vote longer. So it's more work than actually voting for one. So if they want to abstain and not vote, fine, but they're really going to have to work for it. So teacher, I'm not sure which one of them I prefer. Fine. I mean, I think you'll agree, that is a glorious sentence. So, if they want to abstain, as long as the abstaining sentence means that they have to do more work, then, often that will encourage them to vote for one or the other. But if it doesn't really matter because they've done some nice language work. And then the next week, onwards we go with, now this week it is the bins, or this lesson, it's the bins versus the bus stop. Should say stop there, not top, and so on. Occasionally I'll do a big, when we get to the finals, we'll have 2 and 2, and then they'll see them go through and that. We can do this with flashcards as well. It doesn't have to be photographs. It's a very cheap, very easy activity, and it doesn't really take a lot of preparation. You may notice though with these that these pictures are distinctly Spanish in style. What I've done is, instead of using the places from the book, I've just gone around and taken photographs. So this street is actually 2 streets up from my house. This is one of the local supermarkets I go to. As I walk to work, I go past the bins, the bus stop, the walls of Seville Old City and the Macarena, the garage, the hospital. And the last one is actually one of the academy centres where I work, right in the corner, you can see it. The thing is, if you've got a bus stop in your course book, it's going to look different to the bus stop that the children know and see every day. The taxis might be different colours. So what we're doing is we're making things much easier for them to relate to. And also, there is always the chance, if you've got a residential block of flats, for example, in the picture, there's always the chance that one of the little kids is going to stand up and go, my grandmother lives there. And you've got that point of connection then. Whenever you use that photograph, that little 6, 7, 8-year-old is going to stand up and tell you and remind you that their grandmother lives there. So that's what I mean by when I say localizing your pictures. Now, the hardest part of any course book that I find is for primary is normally the content and language integrated learning, the CLIL, or the culture pages, the science pages, or STEAM pages, however you refer to them. They normally come at the end of a unit. It's normally something practical or content related. And I've noticed that the text is normally much more difficult than the core language in the rest of the unit. And there are often items in there the students haven't seen. So you've spent the whole unit introducing your 10 words for places around town. And then, you've got texts with, new complicated words that they've never seen. And sometimes you look at these little paragraphs in the little boxes and you think, yeah, how do I penetrate that? How do I get into that? So imagine we've got something like this. It's, you know, a couple of CLIL pages on school uniforms. And the tricky thing, I think, is getting a class of 7, 6, 7, 8-year-olds all looking at the text together at the same time for any length of time. And, you know, because as soon as you've got some looking, you know, others will be getting tired, then they'll stop looking. Then, so how do we get everybody to focus on the same text at the same time? The way I found most effective recently is an old trick, but nonetheless useful, is putting on the audio recording and then pausing it, and they have to shout out the next word. And that way we've got all the kids looking at the text at the same time. So, you know, some schools in the UK have uniforms, pause, and they go, and, yeah, exactly. Start it, some do not. Some pause it, and they go, children, yeah. And then we can slip in a little bit of translation or testing. What does children mean? And they tell us, and then we move on. So we're actually working through the text at the same time. But this is a nice way of anchoring all their attention to the text at the same time. Another tricky thing I found with course books is that often there is a story in the units, and the story normally consists of either, you know, a comic style spread with little vignettes and bubble sandwiches, and you know, either drawn in the style of a comic or a photo story. And recently I was working with some stories about school children, and there are photos of the school children. This was from New Tiger from Macmillan, Mark Ormerod and Carol Reed. And they're nice stories, but for my 6 and 7-year-olds, they were having trouble sort of penetrating the story. So again, before we even start the story, we'll do an activity which helps prepare them. I'll go to the board. We won't open the books. I'll draw something. Here it is, a school, and I'll put a sentence on the board. Today is the first day of school. And then all the kids have to copy that. Today is the first day of school. It's a picture dictation. And I'll go around and go like this, like that, like this, like that. And then we put on number 2, you know, hand in the air. Teacher, what's number 2? I'm pleased you asked. It is, there is a bag. And then we do, you know, there's a bag on the wall. In this story, in the course book, there's a new kid at school. He goes to the school. He's got his recorder in his bag. He leaves his bag on the wall. 2 of the existing characters find the bag. They decide to make a poster, you know, telling people about the lost bag. And one of them takes the recorder, plays it. He hears it. By this time, he's talking to 2 other characters. Then he goes running, they give him the recorder, and he kind of joins the band of regular characters. That's the story. Here, we're just working slowly through it, step by step. So then, you know, teacher, what's number 3? Number 3 is, and then I draw it there and give them, you know, a couple of minutes to draw it and write their sentence as well. What I often do is before the lesson, I'll sort of sketch out how it's going to be. This is actually the sketch that I used for this one, just so I know what my picture is going to look like. You can see I'm not really a very good artist. The one on the board there turned out quite well that day, but they don't normally turn out quite so pretty. And the kids are doing this, and what they're doing is they're becoming familiar just with the conceptual story. Sometimes as well, I'll put up, you can see in the top corner there, there is, I'm actually doing it on paper as well, so the children can see the relative size of the different things on the page. And that's it, that's the story. And then what they can do is they can read that to each other and practice the sentences. So we're practicing the language from the story. They know how the story goes even before we turn to that page in the book. And then later, in a week or 2 weeks' time, they're watching the story and one of them will say, oh, this is like that thing before. It's like, yes. And schematically, conceptually, they're prepared for it. This one is another one, and this was from a lower level for 6 and 7 year olds. In this story, you know, there's a lady in her house asleep. A thief goes in, steals a laptop, comes out. The children, who are the regular characters, you know, they see the thief. They say stop. The thief slips on a banana skin, and the police come. So here you can see I've just done individual words because they're younger. And when I need a character to move about, you know, I do, and he steals the laptop. And again, all this just unfurls little by little. And we can talk them through the story, explain it. People are not racing on ahead because they're not looking at the book. And by the time we come to the story, you know, next time or the lesson after that, they're ready. They're prepared with the language. They've already seen ladder, banana skin, etc., etc. Something I like very much, and I started doing this when we were teaching fully online, is this activity. I put a set of emojis in the center of the screen, maybe on a PowerPoint slide, and then we start in the center and we say, okay, Alejandro, you know, tell me. And Alejandro says, you know, go up. Okay. Go left, go left, go left, go left. That's it. And then we take a pen or the highlighter pen or the, you know, board pen on the whatever digital tool we're using, and we just circle that and we mark up Alejandro, and that is Alejandro's emoji for the lesson. And then we start in the center again. We say, okay, Carmen, tell me. And she says, go down. So, go down, go down, go left, go right. And then we come to the snowman. And we go through the class and they all get to pick their favorite emoji. Now, often, just picking your favorite emoji is enough. Just expressing a preference. And I mean, I hope you see through this talk, you know, making a prediction, you know, about what gel it is. Or expressing a preference, which place you prefer, or, you know, claiming ownership over an emoji. These things are all infinitely preferable to just being told what to say by your teacher. And this language, it also has further use. At the moment, I'm stuck, people. I can't see the chat box. So your comments or your questions I'll take in just a few minutes. What I've been doing with this for other purposes, I mean, once they get this and you go through the class, the first time it's a little bit difficult for them. It takes them a while. But after that, they quickly get it. You can run through the class very quickly. The symbolitos, the little symbols here, they come from Segoi UI symbol, which comes with Microsoft Word. So they're already on your computer. And if you paste them in a Word document, then they come out in color. If you paste them directly into onto a PowerPoint, then they come out in black and white. So I like to put them into a Word document first. And what we can do then, if we're having a PowerPoint slide or a list or a worksheet, we can put Alejandro's whale and Carmen's snowman next to their names, and we've personalized the worksheets with their emojis. Now, if you're using anything like Classroom 123, Class 123, or Class Dojo, any of these classroom management apps, you know, they can change their avatars. They can choose which avatar they want. And I like to let them do that maybe once a month or once every 2 months. They all get to change their avatar. But again, if you've already taught them go up, go down, go left, go right, you can show them all the possible avatars and they don't have to get up. They can say it from their seat, go up, go left, and they can indicate using the language you've given them to be able to steer the teacher about. 3 in a row is a fairly, it's a fairly classic game. I remember using it 20 years ago, but I've resurrected it and I've been using it recently much more. So here I am in class. This is at the top. I've got art, I've got ICT, I've got drama, Down the side, we've got the times, and you can see I like to do it in a progression. I start with 12, the next one is 12:15, 12:30, and I'm putting the numbers and the words because times can be tricky. And then, you know, team son goes first, and they say something like, I've got geography at 1:45, and then we put the sun, and it's basically we go around and they're trying to make 3 in a row, playing against the other teams. When they do get 3 in a row, you know, it's 1 point for the sun, and then we give the sun 1 point. But it's not over then. The game continues and they can keep getting points. So this is the in-class version knocked up on the board. And this is the PowerPoint version, which I'll also use in class and project onto the screen when I can. And you can see here what I'm doing, we're splitting the target structures into 2 parts, and so that they are always compatible. So, you know, team circles, here I was playing the children at home versus the children in the class, because this was a hybrid lesson. So the people at home are the circles. They say a cat has got claws, they get a circle. The other team goes with, you know, a teacher hasn't got a shell. I mean, we haven't got shells, but if we did have, we might have wanted to crawl into them over the last year. And that we keep playing, we're going round, different children are giving us the answer, and then 1 point for the circle. So we put the circle there, but like I say, it doesn't end there. The other team get their score, 1 point for the crosses. And then if these guys, if they put another circle there, they get another point. So we're keeping the language going, we're keeping the activity going. And I use that with the animals, use it with, you know, hair and facial features, you know, descriptions, physical descriptions, and use it with time, as you saw. So you can use it with basically anything. Another one I was doing last week was there is, there isn't, there are, and then down the side it was a, you know, police station, hospital, train station, cinema, in the town. So we take target language, split it in half, play our game. We can give children points, that's fine, but giving children a house is more fun. Each child has their own house on the wall, and each lesson they gain, if they do the tasks they're meant to, they gain a piece of furniture. So one lesson, you know, at the end of the lesson, they've done well. Can I have a sofa for my house? Yes, you can. And the sofas go we cut them out and I stick them just below the house here. I should have had a few more examples there for you. What they've got now is underneath here, they've got little black and white pictures of sofa, bed, flat screen TV, a pony that'll go in the garage. Yesterday we did a trampoline that'll go on that patio thing sort of above the garage, and that. So they're filling up the house with furniture, and then in about a month's time, when we've got loads of things in there, they can each have their house, they can colour in the furniture, put the furniture in the rooms, draw people, etc. So it's points, but in a slightly more constructive way, and each time we can have more accompanying language to it. I normally change the names of my students when I take photos, and so these are all invented names. Underneath are their real names, but they came in one day and they were all super quiet. I said, "What's the matter with you all?" And they said, where are our houses? I said, "No, your houses are there. I took your real names are under here. Don't worry about that." I like writing on beams, and there are various activities that I've spoken about which involve drawing on beams. They normally start with a dictation, because I've noticed when we ask our students to draw things, they often don't know, or when we ask them to make something with plasticine, they often don't know. So here we have a dictation, but then also we've got visual instruction. So you can see I'm using a pre-recorded clip of myself drawing these faces, the skeleton, the zombie, etc., on the beams, and the children can use that. So I've effectively halved my work what I can do is I can sit down in the lesson, make sure they're watching the other me, they get a video tutorial, and I get a little bit of a rest. Now, whenever I do make a video for the children, what I do at the beginning is I make sure I say all their names, just run through them really quickly, you know. Hello, Alejandro. Hello, Carmen. Hello, Lola. How you doing? Hello, Lola S. How you doing? How you doing, Mencia? And just with a little wave, and you see them in the lesson, they go, oh, that's me. It's because it's the novelty of the other you on the screen mentioning their names. So that's how I like to start off. And then if somebody doesn't understand the task, they can just go and watch the video again. You can play it again. That actual idea I first got from a lady called Sue Cowley in the 70s of differentiation, a very slim little manual, but well worth looking at. So there I am making my video before the lesson. They get to see their teacher without a mask. And then I run through the making the beans and I show them, you know, they're the raw materials. And then they see the worksheet, whatever worksheet it is, but you can do the worksheet, they can see it, and then you can have it up on the screen. So, and also this helps, you know, the fact that they can't come and show you or have a, you know, if you're socially distanced, that they can't be right next to you, they're getting this demonstration very close to the camera up on the screen there. This is one of the resources for one of my methodology books, but if anybody likes the idea and likes this worksheet, send me an email. I can probably find you a version of this that does not incur any copyright regulations. Okay, what next? So say we're working from PowerPoint, you know, the task involves them looking at this number 22, finding it, and then writing the number. If we transition to the next slide, and this is for any slide really, if we transition to the next slide before some children have finished, you get, no, wait, teacher, wait. However, if the next slide has the previous slide as a little mini version in the top corner, then the ones who are lagging behind can also look there and, it's there, and they can use that to catch up while the rest are on this main slide. So if it's a task that you think is going to split the class in terms of pacing, then you can include this little, you know, insert of the previous slide on each next slide, just so people can catch up. There's a fact, I tend to take a screenshot and then just reduce it, but you can press insert, which is there, and then zoom, and that creates a little mini version of the slide itself. Sometimes it gets a bit complicated and it starts to organize your PowerPoint in terms of summaries. So straight screenshots, I find them easier, but you might want to play about with that. Okay, coming to the end, a little bit of unexpected silliness, just occasionally, ding, you know, we've got a slide of the teacher being silly. I do play about with snap camera and things like that, and I sometimes put, you know, turn my face into a cat face or a zebra. But to do this, you don't need anything. It just takes a second, boom, and then you put it, and you'll see the children just think, oh, the teacher's being silly. A little bit of unexpected silliness goes a long way, I think. Also, if I'm taking screenshots of the book, occasionally I'll do it manually. You know, you can use, you know, screenshots from digital books, or you can hold your book up to your camera and make sure that you are behind there somewhere. And then suddenly the teacher, you're there behind. And we, you know, where's the teacher? Behind the book. And they like pointing that out. Okay, some of these ideas are from this little book that I've done for teaching online, which I'm very pleased with. It's even got some colour photographs there, and you can get that from Pavilion Publishing. What else? That's structuring fun for young language learners. What else? My contact is Chris G. Roland, Facebook. There's my email. If we're not friends, maybe we should be. So by all means, get in touch. And I'll take any questions if you have any.
So the ones who have raised their hands, please. You can unmute and you can ask your questions.
Great stuff. Okay. Hey, my chat box has just come back after all this. Okay. Thank you, Jonas. Okay, let's have a look. Let's have a look. So, unmute. Questions. Where are we?
Look at the question. No. The question and answer. There are two people, I guess, who have raised their hands.
Okay, and who are they? Oh, question and answer. Okay, brilliant.
No, there's no question there.
There's no question there.
Just a thank you note, I guess.
Okay.
By the way, this is fantastic. This was fantastic.
Oh, bless you. Thank you very much. Okay, I can see some questions in the chat. So the books, you can get them from Pavilion. So it's www.pavpub.com. You can see that right at the top of the screen. And there's a big fat book on teaching face-to-face, which is structuring young learners, fun for young learners. Then there's the theme one, which is the online one. Okay, I'm going to whiz back a little bit. Bless you all. Thank you all.
We've got a couple of minutes more, so we can spare them and expect for any questions.
Okay, I can see Juliet as a question. Can you download the books as ebooks? Yes, I think you can, because I think the Pavilion just went digital with ebooks. You can't, not this one. This little one is not available as an ebook, but I think the two for teens and primary, the main books are now. So yeah, so worth having a look on the Pavilion site. Okay.
Okay.
Just
I don't think we've got anything else.
Okay, after the house and points, what were the next two activities called from Hannah? Okay, I'm going to have a look. So the house and points. So house and points is there. So the next one, this is Halloween. I use this most of the time for Halloween, but if you use it at another time, the students are not going to learn. They're not going to learn as a teacher. This would be better as a big lesson. And it's basically drawing on dried beans and then sticking the beans on a worksheet. So for the very little ones, I just have a basic house with 4 rooms, and they draw big bean, middle bean and baby bean, and they just put eyes on and they stick them with blue tack into the house and then draw some furniture. So that's the basic task for very little ones, 5 and 6. For the older ones, we do the Halloween sort of theme, and I'll show them how to draw, the various characters on the beans, and then they'll stick the beans on the worksheet. And the worksheet, like I say, it's a downloadable resource for the Structuring Fun, the big book for primary. But it's a haunted house that I've knocked up, and you can see that on the screen there. I've also done in the past, I've done a castle, and they've done little soldier beans, and I got some black beans, and they used Tipex pens, and they had those little black beans as the soldiers on the battlements, which was also quite fun. So just, drawing on beans and sticking them on pieces of paper. And the next activity was, let's have a look behind here. Just on-screen support for students who are a little bit behind the others. So, yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have a look at that.
A couple more questions in the chat box.
Oh, brilliant.
One more at the question and answer.
What tools are you using to create your activities? Is it only PowerPoint? Yes, basically, basically just PowerPoint. I'm not highly.
One more. How do you assess your students' spelling quiz? As I can Read, let me help you there.
How do I assess my students' spelling? What I do is, well, what I've got this weekend is I've taken in, because I can't get so close to them anymore, and I'm trying not to get them to, I was teaching on Wednesday and we were doing a dictation, and they were running up to me each time. I was like, no, don't come and show me like normal, stay in your seats. But what I've done is this weekend, I've taken in the activity books. So I'm going to assess it retrospectively. So I can have a look through the activity books and see how they're doing. So, I mean, you can get a feel for how fast they're going when you're doing a whole class dictation. And often I'll do the whole worksheets on screen with them, and I'll be doing it, and and then they'll be copying. But yeah, I'm using the workbooks this year more than actually sitting with the students and watching them and going around.
A couple more, I guess, and we're through with this. Is it easy to adapt all these great games to one-to-one lessons?
Oh, thanks.
And
Where's
any
that?
tips for learning vocabulary? You just answered this too, and I guess we're through.
Oh, thanks. Is it to adapt these games to one-to-one lessons? Yeah, you could play. I mean, you could play the 3 in a row with your, with your one-to-one student. You just have to. It's like whenever you play with a kid, you just have to let them win a bit. So yeah, and I think that will be fine. The voting for the different places would be, that would be slightly harder. But then, I mean, you could turn it into, if it's an online one-to-one, then you could turn it into some sort of survey, or even if it's, face-to-face one-to-ones, give them it as a homework task and ask them to go around and ask 10 people, the street or the supermarket, which do you prefer, the street or the supermarket? They can survey their family and then come back, and they can tell you which one's going through to the next round. So yeah, I think they could be done. They just take a little bit of adapting.
Okay.
How did I organize an online Halloween party? In our academy, we have teachers who they're in charge of doing the sort of these Friday afternoon parties. I'm not one of them. So my Halloween activity basically was that it was the beans. Yeah, it was, my students had never really seen anything quite like that. They were all doing their beans, they had their bags, and I could hear 2 of them talking, going, is this a Halloween lesson? And the other one said, yeah, I think it is. And I said, is it okay as a Halloween lesson? He said, yeah, it's not bad, it's different. And I've also got a skeletal dog, which I call Lugo. So I brought the skeletal dog in and told them it was my real dog. And I had a worksheet there, but that was the extent of the Halloween party. Oh, and I gave them some sweets, and I told them, I gave them a tray of sweets. I had a tray of sweets. I said, look, this is COVID times. What you have to do is you have to be like a raptor. I said, have you seen the raptors on Jurassic Park? They said, yeah. I said, are raptors fast or slow? They said, they're fast. I said, are they clever, or are they stupid? They said, they're clever. I said, yeah. So when a raptor wants something, it goes like that. So I'm going to pass this box of sweets. I'm going to walk it past you, and you have to look. You have to choose one like a raptor, and then you have to go. And you can't pick 2. So we had a sort of socially distanced COVID style handing out of sweets, where they were just looking and boom. that was quite fun. But that was the extent of my Halloween party. Yeah.
Okay, Chris. As for the ones who've asked about the recordings, the professional recordings, yes, I think will be available in a couple of days, I guess. So, Chris, thank you very much. Amazing, inspiring. I don't know how many adjectives I should use in order to describe it.
Thank you very much indeed. Thank you, people, and enjoy the rest of the day, everyone, and enjoy the rest of the days.